Hello everyone, welcome to Dnyanadeep Academy's online platform. Here we are discussing UPSC's PYQs under our program UPSC Simplified. Today we are going to discuss one of the questions of internal security. So let's start with it. So here is the question: what are the determinants of left-wing extremism in eastern part of India? What strategy should government of India, civil administration and security forces adopt to counter the threat in the affected areas? So here first we have to understand what exactly UPSC has asked in this question. The first part itself is up to this, that what are the determinants. So we have to write determinants in first part, and secondly we have to mention strategies that should be adopted by three parts, that is government of India, then civil administration, and then third one security forces. Okay, so this strategy we have to mention. So now let's decode this question first. Okay, so in this question, so first in introduction we have to define LWE, that is left wing extremism. In simple words we have to define what is Naxalism basically means to you. Okay, here we are, UPSC doesn't expect that you should write some standard definition. You can write definition on your own words. Secondly, you have to mention determinants of LW in Eastern India, then strategies that need to be taken, and thirdly, way forward. Here, way forward is not asked explicitly, so here we can write it in diagrammatic form. Okay, here we have to first understand what value addition points we can write. Okay, so first you can draw map. Okay, you can draw map of India and you can show what is part or where Naxalism affected area exactly situated in India. It is basically situated in West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and some part of Maharashtra. So you can mention these areas in map. Okay, so next, so here is the basic definition of left wing extremism, which is nothing but the radical left wing movement refers to the political ideology and groups that advocate for the significant societal and political change through revolutionary means. इट्स बेसिक सिंपल डेफिनेशन. आपण जर बघितलं तर लेफ्ट विंग एक्स्ट्रीमिझम किंवा नक्षलिझमचं बेसिक एम काय आहे, तर रिव्होल्यूशन थ्रू ब्लड. ओके, सो दे आर using revolutionary means to bring societal and political changes in that particular area. So it is basic definition of left wing extremism. Next, determinants of left wing extremism in eastern part of India. So if we draw map of India in crude sense, okay, so in this area left wing extremism is spreaded. Okay, right from West Bengal to Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. We know about the Dandakaranya region, that is Tri-Junction region situated along border of Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Okay, so what are the determinants of left wing extremism in eastern part of India? The first one is India's land reform policy. As we know that we are facing many challenges in India's land reform policy. Because of that, land is not distributed equally and equitably in downtrodden sections of the society, that is tribals. So because of that, tribals are becoming part of left wing extremism movement. Okay, secondly, tribal issues. As I have mentioned earlier, that land reform policy issues, as well as we know that issue of disturbance of Jala, Jamin, Jungle principle, on which basic economy of tribals is very much dependent, Jala, Jamin and Jungle. So we are disturbing this trilogy, because of which tribals are getting attracted towards the Naxalite movement. Thirdly, support to leftist party. Okay, as we know, LWE is leftist ideology, so they are supporting more to leftist parties, because of which left wing extremism is still persist in eastern part of India. Fourthly, Naxalbari phase. We know that Naxalite movement has its origin in Naxalbari region. Okay, so because of that, it is still persist in eastern part of India, which is one of the most important determinant. Fifthly, government and governance deficit. Okay, so we know that the governance has not reached at the grassroots level in eastern part of India, because of which left-wing extremism is again spreading in that part. Sixthly, development deficit and forced displacement. Okay, so there are several development projects undertaken by the government in that particular area, but still we are not developing that region up to the mark. So because of that, tribals are, or the people living in those areas are getting attracted towards the LWE activities. At the same time, forced displacement is also one of the determinant, that is displacement of the local people because of the developmental projects. And lastly, socio-economic and cultural factors. As we know, tribals have their own socio-cultural identity and practices. So because of modern economic developmental projects and policies, we are disturbing their cultural fabric, socio-cultural fabric, because of which they are thinking that the modern governments or modern democratic institutions are against their cultural practices, and because of that they are getting alienated from the mainstream developmental activities. So for these strategies, what strategies we should adopt? So government should adopt following strategies. The first one is we should have national policy and action plan at the national level to tackle LWE. So we have to formulate specific policy at the national level to tackle LWE. Secondly, modernization and empowerment of state police forces. As we know that law and order is a state subject. So to tackle this LWE, problem of LWE in particular areas of the state, we have to modernize and empowerment of the state police forces. Here we can mention example of C60 police force of Maharashtra or Greyhounds of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Thirdly, rationalization of Rahat and surrender policy. So under Rahat and surrender policy, those Naxalites which surrender under this policy, we are providing them some benefits or providing them some opportunities to tackle this issue. So we have to rationalize this Rahat and surrender policy. Fourthly, rehabilitation plan. As we have seen earlier that forced displacement is one of the determinants of persistence of LWE in eastern India. So we have to frame comprehensive rehabilitation plan before any developmental project. Okay. And lastly, effective implementation of land reform policies. So these are some measures that can be adopted by the government. Then we can see that what strategies should be adopted by the local administration. Okay, so local administration, the first one is good governance measures can be undertaken, under which probity in governance can be enhanced and people connect can be ensured, so that doorstep delivery of governance can be ensured in that particular area. Secondly, administration people connect can be ensured. For example, some communication forums can be established for the dialogue between administration and local people. Okay. Then coordination between various administrative departments. As we know, LWE is not a problem of law and order only, it is a developmental problem also. So we can connect all the, or we can coordinate between various departments of the government, like administrative department, developmental department, police department. And lastly, participatory governance can be ensured, under which tribals and local people's participation in administration can be ensured. Okay, here we can mention one best model, that is Dantewada district model, where all the social economic developmental activities were undertaken by the local administration with the help of NGOs and local people. Okay, so we can mention this model, and we should ensure that there is box for this best model, so that this can fetch +1 mark to you. Okay, and nextly, strategies to be adopted by the security forces. First one is strengthening of security forces. The force responsible to tackle LW is CRPF. So we have to strengthen CRPF from all the fronts. Secondly, intelligence gathering. Okay, so we have to strengthen intelligence, okay, related activities. Okay, for example, intel infiltration in tribal areas can be ensured. Thirdly, Samadhan doctrine. It is a comprehensive doctrine given by Ministry of Home Affairs to tackle the issue of LWE, and collective approach can be ensured between various security forces. So here you can mention the example or best model of Greyhounds of Andhra Pradesh, and don't forget to make it in the box or write it in the box. And lastly, we can mention way forward. Okay, the way forward, what can be way forward for this? So as I have mentioned earlier, that best model can be written Andhra Pradesh Greyhound Security Force model or Dantewada district model. Secondly, alternative developmental models can be ensured. For example, Odisha government has undertaken various developmental activities in red corridor areas, and they have converted red corridor areas into red gap areas. Okay, what is red gap? Earlier, this is the affected area in Odisha, for example, and later on, developmental activities has created gap in affected areas. So this is known as red gap. So this can be ensured. Thirdly, social development along with economic development. For example, education, health infrastructure can be built in the particular area, so that the people living in that area can come into the mainstream development process, and along with economic development, like employment opportunities can be provided to them, or industrial development can be ensured in that area. And lastly, attitudinal and behavioral changes among the local people, so that the people who are joining Naxalite movement can be brought down. So this is overall answer. And lastly, we can mention about the conclusion. Thus, through holistic approach and comprehensive policies, problem of LW can be effectively tackled to achieve the aim of New India. So in conclusion, we have to either summarize the overall question or to write some futuristic point to achieve some aim of New India as a part of Amrit Kal. So this is one of the questions of internal security. So thank you so much.